Hello, good evening, everybody. Yep, just checking my microphone. Sorry, I thought it wasn't on for a second. Sorry if there's a bit of a jump in that then. I was literally just distracted by something, so I didn't press the intro properly. So sorry about that. Yes, it's MOC Heads again, 2.6. It sounds like a unit of measurement, really. And tonight we have the Brick Bods on with us. Yay! So I'll be bringing them on shortly. Hope everyone out there is good. I'm just going through, seeing how I look in chat because that's what we do. And I'll probably forget to take you off chat off the screen. So if I do, I'm very sorry. So we've got Maxine, evening. And all the way down from down under, we have Lego Team B. Evening, guys. Or good morning, I suppose, for you as well. Excuse me. We have Emily's here and Delicious Foods are here as well. We also have KO, who's with his traditional greeting of moan. So hi, KO. Hope you're okay. And we have Madlib here, who's invited loads of people around his house today on Instagram. So I hope everyone's enjoyed a nice cup of tea with him. And we have Mark's here as well. And also all the way from Germany, which is part of Essex, we have Nicole. And have I missed anybody? Because I'm scrolling like an idiot. Nope, I am not. And we are on Twitch. We'll be working out how you do that on Twitch a bit better. So that's doing it. Obviously, I've done it again. I've left Nicole on there. Oh, for goodness sake, pay attention. There you go. Right, cool. Right. So, welcome to MOC Heads 2.6. We have today two brilliant guests. There's not one, but two, double trouble. We have the Brick Bods, who we know from their streams on Sunday, from being on London Calling, I can't remember the name of it, and also their podcast on Thursdays. But also they will do loads and loads of shows in the UK, as well as visiting some overseas as of this year. So there may be more in the future. We don't know, but who knows? So anyway, before I sing more weird things, because I'm very good at doing that and also getting my tongue in a knot today, let's bring on the Brick Bods. And hello. Good evening. How are you guys?
Okay, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, all good here. For some reason, I don't seem to be able to speak very well today, which is interesting. So I may just be going at you at some point.
That's the fun part.
Yeah. I think that's kind of normal for me as well. So I'm like, hello, what? So, and I actually had a pre-stream question for you as well, about whether a Foobie-Doo was better or a Fruby-Doo was better or something.
Oh, thanks for that.
What was this?
Frankie being mean to me.
Okay.
Oh, is it being mean? Oh, I didn't realise that.
Well, it's just putting a song stuck in my head, and I'm like, do 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 do. Thanks for that.
Oh, okay. I did actually listen to Lily Allen in Simlish earlier on. That was a bit weird. Anyway, we're here to talk MOCs, not made up language for people trying to get away with copyright. And swearing as well for kids. So MOCing, you guys.
MOCing.
Yes. Obviously, and Lego as well. Yeah. Is that any?
We sometimes do that.
We do a bit of
I like to mock you, but I don't know if that's the right kind of mocking.
Yeah.
Well, it's a form of mocking. It's being creative, which is what mocking is ultimately, I suppose. Just click the cat. So I guess really to start with your sort of, I'd say your MOC journey, but also your journey into mocking as well.
I'd say you can start.
I can start.
I'd say you started the mocking before I did. So proceed. Where do we begin?
At
the very beginning.
At the very beginning.
Yeah, it's a very good place to start.
So I guess the very beginning was when I was at university.
Mm-hmm.
I, as part of my master's dissertation, I created Lego robots to show various sorting algorithms. It was thrilling. I mean, one of the most exciting topics you could imagine.
Okay.
But so that was how I got back into Lego. You know, as a kid, I played with Lego, and then at some point, as a teenager, just drifted away from it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
found computers.
There was never any like conscious decision to stop or anything. It was just you slowly move on to different things. But so as a result of doing it as my dissertation, I had some Lego Mindstorms. I got the Lego Mindstorms R2D2.
Okay.
Quite an odd set to have.
Because we don't like dolls.
Yeah. But so then, So then after uni, we moved into a flat together.
We did.
And it was when we bought this house.
Yeah.
We decided that we needed a tradition.
Yeah.
And your colleague said you can't just invent traditions, and we went,
yes,
we can.
And we did.
And so we started the tradition of buying each other a Lego set for New Year.
Yeah, so we'd spend New Year building it.
So yeah, New Year Day was spent building Lego.
Typically, Christmas.
You would get a modular. I'd buy you a modular, and you would get something random for me.
Yeah.
And so for years, that's how we kind of continued with Lego.
But we carried doing that until we had kids. We still bought the stuff, but then we didn't build it because babies get in the way. Yeah. Very, very annoying, these babies. So we still bought the sets. We still exchanged them. We pretended that we were going to build them, and then we never got around to it.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
But then I think I started buying more Lego because once a year wasn't enough. So I got into the minifigs, the CMFs, and I also got into like the small 3-in-1 creator sets.
Okay. Yeah.
But the building ones, so similar like mini modular type things. So I would build those. And we got into the Christmassy sets as well.
Yes.
So we started doing our own Winter Village. But yeah, I don't know when did the mocking start? I guess when we decided we were going to build a city.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, let's build a city.
So
I think was it in 2020 we started watching a lot more Lego content. We were watching Robin Hood bricks every night, and so he's building his city. We were like, well, we want to do that too.
Yeah.
So let's do that. So we did.
And so and then it was you just start off with small bits, so like just adding in scenery in to combine the different sets in the city, that kind of stuff. That's where it all started from. And then obviously there was the coral reef, which started from the bouquet. So the first botanical set that they did, the flower bouquet, it was looking at that and going, some of the builds on that would work in the city as like bushes or as small trees and stuff like that. And it was going, but some of these clearly wouldn't. You know, you couldn't have like the Snapdragon just as a tree would just look weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
And so, well, we could use them in a coral reef. And so we'd already decided that part of our city was going to be water. Pretty much the bit that we can't get to very easily because of the eaves of the loft. It was like, well, that's where the water's going to be. So we could just have a section on the end of it, which is underwater.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's where that all started from. And so it was mainly a taking sets and taking bits of sets and putting them together to make the coral reef.
Yeah. Well, then you started like looking at parts as well. How can I put these parts together? Yeah. And you built like your little snail.
Yes.
Which I love your snail.
Yeah. One of the first things I did for the coral reef was build a snail.
Is that the one that's your avatar on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I like that one.
Yeah.
And then the coral reef just got bigger.
Yep.
And you're like, wow, this actually looks like we could take it somewhere.
Yep.
And so we did.
We were going to quite a lot of shows back then.
Yes.
And so it was could we make anything to take to the shows? And we decided, well, the coral reef would look quite good at a show. We felt, it was
colourful,
kind of worthy of being seen. And so that was, we then signed up for Steam. And
nice small show.
Start with a small show.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But the idea was, when I'd started the coral reef, as I say, it essentially went on the end, like the end of a bunch of tables, and so it wasn't designed to come out of the room at all.
No.
Right. Okay.
And in fact, it didn't come out of the room in one piece, did it? I should have sent you that picture.
Yes.
Ian hit the corner of the door as he was trying to bring it down, and the whole
Yeah.
thing was kaput, pretty much. So then you could rebuild it.
Was that when you broke it, like just before a stream started or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was bringing it down so we could work on it on stream, I think. And
Yes.
it came down in pieces.
Yeah.
It was a massive crash. And it's like obviously I took a photo to document it, but I forgot that I'd taken that photo. It was it was a sad sight.
Yeah.
But I guess it meant that you then got to rebuild it and make it a bit sturdier, maybe.
I'm not sure about that.
No.
So with that one then, so it wasn't originally designed to go on.
No, it was never meant to travel. It was meant to just sit in our city and look beautiful. So consequently, it didn't have a clear way of sort of boxing it up. We just had a shelf, and we'd carry the whole shelf in, didn't we?
Yes.
And I think at Steam you did knock a door again, and one of the Duplo towers went.
Oh no! So here we
That's
go.
the one.
Here's the picture of it. So that kind of so what I consider like the sea wall going around it, that wasn't in the city. So I built that specifically because we were taking it to shows.
Right. Okay.
And so that is mainly made up of Duplo at the back, holding it all together. And I think when we put it on the table at Steam, I managed to just basically knock it over. I think part of it came off and it was massive.
It was just because you wanted something to do, because we got to Steam really early just in case.
We did.
And so we had something to do. And in fact, this is from like towards the end of displaying this mock. When we went to Steam, I think it was probably half as detailed. And like there were so many gaps because we took it when we were like we couldn't fix it in time. We were like, we can't add enough stuff in. And like, all of the avatar leaves around the side, that was new. Like it was pretty empty for Steam, but then Bricktastic it was better, and then the next show it was better, and that's kind of how it works. You keep adding on more as you go. Steam is always our first show, but not necessarily our best show for a mock. This looks pretty dense now, but again for the start it was not. It didn't have the octopus, I don't think either.
No, possibly didn't.
You hadn't built that yet.
So,
because you sort of added, I remember you adding loads of bits, as I think between shows as well, wasn't it? So it was like constantly evolving.
Pretty much every time we do a Bricklink order, we would look, is there any parts on here that would fit a coral reef right now? Put those on. And in fact, you got SpongeBob in there, which that took us several shows. We kept getting told, you need a SpongeBob. So eventually we did get a SpongeBob. Now we get told, you need a Patrick. Oh, okay. So...
Have you got a Patrick?
We do now have a Patrick, yeah.
You do? There you go.
Who's the other one that we need? Squidward. Apparently we now need a Squidward.
Oh, okay. God, these demands from people. Honestly.
I know, people are ridiculous. But it's nice to get that feedback from a show and be able to sort of fill in some of the gaps. But this one's looking pretty good. I like this one.
There's a lot of really cool part usage. Is that a sheep as well? Is that a sheep as well?
That is a sheep, yeah.
But my favourite story about the sheep. So Carrie added the sheep at random.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my favourite story about the sheep is that, I mean, you've done mocks. I don't know how much you get it, but the little kids, so kind of 5 and under, they'll walk up and they'll just point at bits of the mock and say what they see.
Yeah. So they're like crab. Like mermaid, like stingray, and then one kid went ship.
And went sheep.
Oh, sorry, sheep. Sorry.
And the mum, who wasn't paying all that much attention to the kid, it's clearly they've come along because the kid likes Lego. They're not really interested. She's on her phone, so she just kind of looks away from her phone, looks down at the kid, and goes, "It's pronounced ship." and then just goes back to her phone again.
Oh, right.
No, there is a sheep in there. It's not a ship. It was a sheep.
Yeah. Poor child.
Yeah.
And then one dad said that it was actually a barracuda.
Yeah, barracuda.
Yeah, we had some fun jokes with the sheep. I had a sheep, so I put it on. Why not?
So we should just keep an eye out then for various random animals, maybe.
Yeah, if I've got a part that I think I can hide somewhere in a MOC, then I will just put it in. It's fun. So now there's always a Duplo chicken. That's my Narc's fault.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, from the elves one, wasn't it? It was the gift to end all gifts, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! But the idea then behind this again from the botanicals, and you kind of just extrapolated it and went from there, because
I
mean there is a lot of really cool parts in here that you wouldn't necessarily think would go underwater as well, because I think you've got like are these wings as well over there? Ice cream pieces here, I think.
Those are the princess dresses upside down as well, the green and the blue. Just stick them in.
Okay. Yeah. And the car wash brushes. Are they car wash brushes?
Yeah, or street sweepers, depending on the colour, or no, maybe they've had the car wash in both.
Used in both cases.
Oh, that's so cool. And so, I mean, how long would it have taken then initially then to have done this, or was it a case of it was half full, as you said, and then Carrie just kept sneaking stuff in? And then
So I think if you look for all the bits that did come with those botanicals, that was what was in to start with. So botanicals and the succulents, I think you added in before the start, or maybe we hadn't got the succulents.
I can't remember. The
but,
Silent Mary was in for the first show.
Yeah.
So, and that is, so we've got the Silent Mary. I think I'd gone, well, we need a shipwreck in there and come up with the idea of the Silent Mary. And then, as soon as you've made that decision, you then find about 10 other people who have all used Silent Mary as a shipwreck in the following. But it was quite interesting. So, because what I've done is the Silent Mary comes on like a stand made out of trans clear bricks. And so if you just kind of take that off and put it down, it looks a bit weird. And so just things like shortening the far side and lengthening the near side so it sits at an angle, and taking the rudder off so the rudder doesn't get in the way, and just small changes like that to make it fit a lot better. I think it's worked well. In the first show we had it the other way round, so that the mask stuck out towards people. Yeah,
which was good for protecting the MOC, but probably a bit of a health and safety. Got a few eyes. And I think the good thing is, because it's a shipwreck, every time we take it in and out of the box, some bits fall off. But it doesn't really matter. So
it's
carry on.
Natural erosion, then, isn't it? More of it. So would you keep them, the pieces that fall off, then would you just keep them and just scatter them along the seabed, as it were?
They tend to get just left in the box, I think. But that's a good idea, isn't it?
Every so often I work out where a bit goes and stick it back on. But it's
this is what helps you kind of get away from seeing it as a set when you start destroying it, because I'm very much build a set, it's now that set, you must keep it like that, and I get very upset when it's not in one piece. But this is helping, because I'm like, well, it looks good as it is, no one needs to know that there's like 10 bits missing or whatever, so it still works. It still serves its purpose. I can live with it.
I mean, because the way it's sort of resting here, I mean, and it's probably the same on the new one as well, if I remember as well. It kind of does look like it has sort of sunken into the bed a bit, which is really cool. You can't, when it's like this, you really can't see it actually as a set.
No, people do work it out eventually, and they sort of say, "Oh, is that the one from Pirates of the Caribbean?" Like, yeah, it is, but it works as a shipwreck. And it complements the color behind it as well, because it's so dull.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Because it's like sort of balances the colors out, doesn't it? Because you've got like the really bright in the background there, all the different ones, and then you've got like the sort of more earthy tones down the bottom as well. Where I suppose as well it would be a bit darker as well with it gets deeper.
Yeah,
or goes,
which
is quite cool. So this was part of this came from the city. So how was because I don't think I've had anyone on who's built a city as before either yet. So, another first there. So how has that sort of changed as well, though, sort of the city? Is that because I remember watching one of your early videos, and I don't think there were as many tables on the city originally.
Yeah, so our city started off as like 4 tables along like the back wall of the loft. And I think the plan was mainly to just have the modulars along it.
Yeah,
because that's what I liked. I like my modulars. I don't think it took us long to go, oh well, there's loads more room in here. Let's go a bit crazy. And I think we went from 4 to 16 tables pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think we're up to about 22 tables now.
Okay.
And that's because you've got all the different heights. So there's some tables underneath the tables.
Yeah.
But yeah, you came up with the idea of like the standing holes. I didn't send you many city pictures, to be fair, but there's 2 standing holes, one just behind the observatory there, and then one at the far end where the fairground is.
Oh, yeah, you can just make it out.
Yeah. It's easier to see when you get someone to pop up from the and we've had lots of fun with the standing holes and doing live streams up there, and people just popping up all over the place.
Yeah,
it's very claustrophobic in that room now, though. If you go up with a group for like a city tour, unless someone goes in the holes, it's a lot of people in what is just a narrow space down the side. But yeah, it got a little bit out of hand. It's fine, right? It's fine.
Yeah,
I think we haven't done anything really with the lower levels of our city, but
depends what you count as lower levels. So like you can see, so on this you can see kind of the 3 levels. So you've got like the winter village on the side,
got the very cool,
and then it's hard to make out, but there's then a table underneath that.
There's a picture
where
there. You can just see it down the bottom there, can't you?
So where that box is, that's where the other level is, and so in there we've got the Mines of Moria and the Indiana Jones
Temple of the Golden Idol.
So they fill in that section, but then you've got another layer underneath, which is where the subway is essentially meant to go, and we've not done any work on that.
Yeah, that's true.
But then, as I said, down the far end is where you've got the sea, and then underneath that you've got the coral reef. So that there are many different levels all over the place.
Yeah, so there's the Temple of the Golden Idol.
Yeah,
and this is kind of what we do as city builders is we don't necessarily build a whole big MOC, but this is flipped to work in the space that we had. So you had to like rebuild the whole set.
Yes,
backwards.
So as you can see, the bit that's now on the left is too tall to fit under those tables, and I couldn't extend the tables up anymore because by the time we've got multiple layers, we're getting close to hitting the ceiling with some of the sets.
Right.
And so instead, I had to completely reverse the entire set in order to have that sticking out the side.
Does the ball down roll the other way?
So the ball rolls the other way.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, reversing a build is actually not that difficult.
Yeah, but it's just extra work, isn't it?
And in some cases I took like shortcuts on it. So I think like the main bit on the left where the face comes out, I've not mirror built that. I've just basically taken it off and moved it so it's in the correct position still. So
it's a lovely set this one. I love this set.
Yeah, it's nice actually. I think it's quite some good techniques in it as well.
But so making it so that all of those actions still work on it.
I'm just trying to find that. Yeah, that's the other one. That's gonna find it.
Yes. So then this is like the other end of the winter village. So this is the bottom part of the waterfall is from the Monkey Kid
Forbidden Fruit Mountain,
something like that.
So we essentially took that set and extended it. You bought some more of the blue tiles and made it go up to where our mountain starts. So I don't know where the water comes from though, because there's no water up there.
Well, it's a lake up there.
It's the snow is melting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the snow's melting. It's fine. So then, were these trees then all like something from yourselves, or you come up with an idea for these, or do you get inspiration from?
Did you move them from somewhere else?
I would imagine I've moved them from another part of that set, or duplicated them and that kind of stuff.
Try and keeping with what you've got.
Yeah. Sometimes I just find stuff in boxes and stick them on.
Yeah. This is the thing, when you take one set apart and you leave bits behind, then we leave them sort of built so that when you're shuffling through stuff, you're like, oh, actually, this would now work somewhere else. And it's fine. Still using it.
And so it has like doing that, building a city and like just adapting the sets as well, kind of made you look at pieces and parts differently at all as well, and the MOCs as well, obviously.
Yeah, so I mean, I think doing the coral reef makes you definitely look at parts differently.
Yes.
To the point where Carrie would quite often just buy random parts.
Yeah, I'm like,
she'd go, that'll probably work in a coral reef. It's led to some really weird parts that we've got, because particularly bionicle sets.
There's no idea of scale.
Yeah, you find a piece, you go on Bricklink because you found a seller who's got some parts, and you look through the other bits they've got, and you see a bionicle part, and until it turns up, you have no idea how big it is.
Yeah.
So, this could be, the size of a 1x2, or it could be the size of, an 8x16 plate. It's crazy.
Quite often the 8x16 plate, and then you have to find another use for it because it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
So this looks like a good plant. Oh no, it's actually the size of a real plant.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. Cool. Some of them ended up in.
Yeah.
Others did not.
So, I think something that's meant to be a bit of armor is like a manta ray we've used.
Oh yes, yeah. So, that was you. I didn't buy that one.
Yeah.
And we have Rick, evening. So and Pebu as well. Evening. So at the bottom of the waterfall, so this is all in your city as well. You've got the so you've called it the 5-in-1 castle. So this is kind of like a multitude of different sets, I suppose.
So
changes
because we are set builders. We like building the sets. Ignore the fact that there's a bit of Lunar New Year in there. I couldn't be able to move it. That thing, you sometimes end up with things in your city that shouldn't be there because you're just moving things from other places. But we have like 5 castles, and we like different bits of each one. And he was like, well, I'm just going to put them all together and make my own castle.
Yes.
So points for if you can work out which castles are in there. I love a good game.
Yeah,
definitely recognize.
So obviously the main bit you've got there is the castle in the forest.
Yeah.
Which was the Bricklink Invitational round 1. And then next to it, so on its right-hand side, or left side, if you're looking at it, I don't know which side you talk about castles from.
Yeah, that bit
is that is the 3-in-1 castle.
But the tower build,
yeah, not the main build, but one of the alternate builds was a tower. So we built that, and so we basically took the side off the castle in the forest and built across to it. And I think there's still some gaps because I didn't have enough bricks to fill it in, kind of stuff. But it loosely attaches. And then coming down onto the near side, we've got
it's a Kingdoms castle, but I can't remember. Probably from about 2009 or 2010 because that's what I bought.
Yeah, so that was one of the sets that, as I said, we used to do the New Year's tradition. So that was a castle that Carrie got me as part of that.
Right. Okay.
It's a nice one.
And then is that
the hidden side castle on the next bit around, which needs some filling at the bottom.
Yeah.
I think. So that was the one that is the one that had that weird brownish tower.
Yes.
So it wasn't symmetrical, but it's a really good tower, a really good castle. Other than that bit, I didn't like that bit. So you just took that bit off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good thing with Lego, isn't it? If there are bits like that, you say, well, either get rid of it or change it up, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I think next to your tower from the 3-in-1, there's also the the windmill.
Yes.
So we kept some of the windmill in there as well.
Yeah.
Is that part of the 5-in-1 castle?
Yeah, it's all
loosely connected, isn't it? I think it's a bit of a flooded castle.
You can see there, can't you?
Yeah.
Just because it seemed to work in that point. So.
Yeah. And so, this has been, I worked on it and then other things have come up. So, most of the ground is still just the blue base plates. And so it needs grass adding in and actual streams. The idea is that the water from the waterfall will come down and follow the stream and then come out underneath where the
balcony.
Roughly under where that balcony is.
And then it goes all the way down to Ninjago City.
Yeah, so that will then go through the forest area down into the Ninjago area. We might have the boat race happening on there and stuff. So,
I mean, this is the thing. We don't get up into the city enough these days because we're always building for shows.
Yeah.
So we've kind of shifted our focus away from the city. But that is our main thing that we should be doing. So we need to try and get back to it a bit. It doesn't help that our city's in a loft. So it's either freezing or boiling, depending on what time of year it is.
Yeah, most of the time it's fine.
Yeah. We definitely avoid it at certain points, though.
Yeah, that's the trouble. Anything at the top of a house, especially in summer at the minute, you're like, no, I'm not going anywhere near it. Anything like here.
But I think it's also been so when we first started doing live streams, we would do them from the city.
Yeah.
And there was enough space for us to sit at the desk and build sets and have the cameras and everything set up. And slowly, as the city grew, we obviously got less and less table space. There's no way we could go up there and actually build the set anymore.
No.
But so we've also brought all of our parts collection into this room.
Yeah.
Right.
So now if you want to go and work on the city, you have to remember what parts you want and take them up there, or constantly come up and down to get parts. So it's a bit more effort than it was before.
But then MOCing is easier in this room.
Yes.
So it's you can't have your parts everywhere. You've got to pick one place, and this seems to be the better option.
Yeah, it's all in one place as well, isn't it? So if you got like smaller builds, you can do it there, and then you can always then, as you say, just because the drawers all do come out as well, which is useful. So you can just transport them up there as well. So and how is it then MOC building, and set building as well as a couple? Because I know it's can be fraught when I'm just building on my own sometimes. So how is it times two?
We never argue, do we?
No,
if you come to our live streams, you'll know that we are very, very lovely to each other at all times. So set building, like I love details and minifigs, and I want to see every single detail and minifig in a set. And Ian likes to keep himself to himself, and often will build the minifig without even thinking about it and not tell me. So you'll often find me telling him off for that.
Yeah.
And it definitely, when we used to build, when we did like the New Year's Day thing, we would be building together. So one of us would find the pieces, the other one would put them on, and then we'd swap. So you saw everything, and I kind of miss that because you do get to see everything, but there's no way you can build as many sets as we do doing that. And it's also really hard to then engage with chat when you're talking to each other constantly.
Yes.
So
it does mean that we have our own language when it comes to parts, which is always fun.
We have our own language. What's our own language? We used to have
so instead of things like plate and tile, you'd have bobbly one and shiny one.
I think since we started MOCing and like doing Lego, when we first started, it was flat shiny and flat bobbly. I think is what we used to so you get bricks and then flats were plates, and flat shiny, flat bobbly. So, but we don't do that. I don't think we do that anymore.
No,
that was our initial. It was quite fun.
Yeah, that's almost a shame because you could just imagine that'd be brilliant. People we watching like, what are they on about? This is
flat bobbly. Yeah.
Oh, that's what it is. So you kind of got like roles then you sort of settle into then when you're sort of building, like one's a fetcher carrier, the other one's a bricklayer, or is it kind of a mixture?
When we're MOCing, we tend to divide the MOC up a little.
Yeah.
And I'll try and get on with my bits, and then Ian will come and rescue them after I've done some. Yes. Depending on what I'm doing, like this So the very first one, the elves, because I would say Ian mainly did the coral reef by himself, and then I just started throwing bits like sheep onto it. So I didn't feel much ownership over that first coral reef. The second MOC we did, the elves MOC, we had our set. This is your bit. This is my bit. And I built my rock work, and then you came along and shored it up because it was.
There were some bits
weren't attached
at all.
It looked beautiful. Like, it was a good first attempt. I was pleased with it. And then that sort of came together, and then we sort of added bits on as we went. And I placed like all the minifigs and things, so it worked. Whereas the most recent MOC, the Coral Reef 2.0, I had my one cube to do. And I don't think we got on very well with that one because you didn't realize I was going to be doing that cube. So you designed it one way and I tried to build it a completely different way. You're like, you need to use the snot technique. And I'm like, I don't know how to use the snot technique. And then at one point I came home and you're like, it's not going to work. And I just found it like in pieces. And I don't think you meant to do it.
It completely crumbled.
I think he just smashed the stuff I've been working. So then I'm like, you're like, it's not going to work. We have to start again. And I was like, I'm not starting again because I've got this far. And then I made it work and it was fine. So you were wrong.
You finally worked out. You kept saying that you couldn't use snot techniques, and then you have ended up doing it. So
go me.
You worked it out at the end.
I think it was fine, and you were just being picky. It's all your fault. So we do argue a lot. But I think the most thing we argue about is who's made the most mess. And because obviously I don't work during the day, whereas Ian does. So he wants to come home and get on and make stuff. And then he doesn't really want to like put the stuff away because he's going to come back the next day. But I work in here like all the time, and I can't really be creative if there's stuff everywhere. And I get really annoyed. So I then don't do anything for ages because I'm like, well, you have to tidy up. And you're like, no, I don't want to tidy up. And then if we're both in here together, for some reason, Ian's favourite position to mock in is like along the floor. And he's quite a tall guy, and it's not a very big room. And it essentially just blocks all the parts and all the pieces. Like, I can't get to anything. And I just feel like, why are you here? What are you doing? And so I make you leave. I mean, like this is a fine position to be in, but you insist on lying along the floor. You're special.
Because we've got, so the way we do our part storage is as you can see, so we have these drawers, and so then each drawer has, so we've got drawers for bricks, drawers for plates, and drawers for slopes, and then each one will be a color. So we'll pull one out.
Nice. Pull one out nicely. Don't make it all go over.
So this is white plates. So in here you've then got boxes of all different sizes.
Wow. Okay.
So sometimes it will be that like we've got 2x2 plates in here.
Sometimes you'll just get like wedges, and there'll be all different types of wedges. The idea is you can roughly find where you need to get to, and then if you need to, we've got loads of other tubs that you can pour things in to sort of search more. You put it away.
Oh yeah.
Like, I want to make it bigger, and I'll hide it.
So I worked out the button, so it took a while.
So it's just
so then each one, they're just boxes. We've reused
yogurt boxes mainly.
So a lot of yogurt boxes and Pop-Tart boxes, stuff like that. But so the idea is that when I'm mocking, say I'm doing like a bit of mountain. Then I will get the slopes in whatever color that I'm doing. I'll get the bricks in the same color. Normally, I'll then use an accent color when doing rock work. So I'll then get the bricks and slopes in those colors. So I can have like 4 or 5 of those drawers around me on the floor.
Yeah, you can't because there's no room.
I can. That's how I work.
Yeah, but you can do that. But then if I'm also meant to be working in the room, that doesn't work. But
so if I was working at this, there's no way I could have all of them out whilst also having the mock and everything. And so that's why I tend to be on the floor quite a lot.
Yeah, I think the problem we had this time around is that the mock was pretty much on like one whole surface. And we weren't working on the whole mock at once. So having a place where we can store our mock and then bring in the bit you're working on would work better. We're talking about getting some big storage shelves for another room that will store mocks when they're in either when they're done or while they're in progress. And that way we'll have, because this is quite a long table, and then you've got the table behind, he could have all of his stuff on it. I'm a bit concerned what he's doing right now, but it's fine.
It's fine.
He can have them laid out on the table, and there'd still be room to then work, and then there'd still be room for me to work, so it wouldn't be as bad. I think he's trying to grab some of the MOC, which is...
I will show you some of the MOC.
This is fun. This is not fun. This is scary. It's massive.
So it's just too bricktastic, don't worry, just in case.
This is a section of the MOC.
So it's large.
Okay.
So this one...
That was the...
It's quite a simple one. It just has an eye. I don't know if it works.
KO's favourite.
Yeah, can you show off the eye? Because I couldn't do that in the thing. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
The eye is the best part of this MOC. I took no footage of the eye working at Steam. I can't believe I did that.
So this is 32 by 64, and then I don't know how high.
So there's
some high,
and then there's 4 sections of that.
Yeah. So having those in the room takes up quite a lot of space.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice if we can have those somewhere else in storage, and we just pull them out as we need to work on them. Yeah,
you then just have one each, or yeah. So that would definitely make it easier. So it gets very messy in here.
But I guess the trouble is as well, I mean, when you're mocking it, you do just kind of, you start off with all the good intentions of just going to keep it sort of refined to this bit, and it just sort of spreads the more, because you're like, I'm just going to get these bricks. Oh, I need that one now. And you just...
And you're fine if it's just you doing it. I think that's the thing. If you are one person in a room creating, you know why those bricks are on the table. You know that you're going to use them again, and it's fine. And it's the mess you've made. Whereas when you're sharing a space, you can't see past the mess that the other person's made to work out what, like, because I might need the same bricks that Ian's left somewhere in the room, whereas I'd rather go find them from where they're meant to be. Like if I try and tidy up for him, he's very good at not closing bags, and so then parts fly across the room as I try and put them away. So it's really hard to mock as a couple. And I don't think that's just because we are quite a volatile couple. I think it's just hard to do. You need your own space, and we don't really have it. So.
I think we're also hampered occasionally by the fact that, so as you said, there's these 4 bottom sections, and each of those has a top section on as well. So there's kind of 8 sections plus other bits and pieces. If we were working methodically and working on one until it was finished and then moving on to the next one kind of thing, it would be a lot easier. But because Steam happens at the beginning of October, and obviously with the summer holidays, it's difficult to do anything during summer holidays, and so September is pretty much,
frantic,
full steam ahead trying to get it done.
Steam.
And so, but you're ordering parts and waiting for parts to turn up, so you can't work on just one, because you're needing to work on all of them to work out what parts you need to order. And then as the orders come in, you're then filling out different bits. So you are bouncing between all of them the whole time.
But it's also, if you work on just one until it's finished and then Steam happens, you've only got one section finished. So like doing a little bit of each one makes sense. But being able to swap them in and out from somewhere other than this room would be useful. So and that just means turning another room in our house to Lego. So it's it's doable, but we probably shouldn't. But we're going to. So.
Would that be in the same level in the house as that when you're in now?
Yes, that's literally like next door pretty much.
Okay.
So not too many doorways to get through.
Yeah,
because you're not good with doorways.
Doorways can be tricky.
Yes, angles of doorways and square things getting them. Doesn't always work. It's like the moving boxes. I've got that one ridiculously shaped box I always take a mock in, which hopefully I won't be doing much longer. But because it's flat and long, it's really awkward to get through the door, and it's kind of exactly the same width as the gap that it needs to get.
We've got to go sideways, isn't it?
It's
tricky.
So because the first one wasn't designed necessarily to move when you first started making it, to go on the shows. What sort of lessons then did you learn when it came to the elves one? Because that was quite modular, wasn't it? fun.
Yeah, and we also put it on like Mills plates, didn't we? So it was a lot stronger, Mills plate-ish.
Yeah,
it is on Mills plates. It's not on flimsy base plate. There's a layer of plating that gives it a bit more strength to it, and we very much made it 8 sections that come apart. So and we did really well at finding boxes that fit those, because the smallest, like the non-heighted ones that you didn't need much room went in cake boxes, and they were really easy to then transport. There was not much wasted space, and we didn't learn that lesson for this one because we can't get these in boxes without the box being ridiculously large compared to this.
So for the L's one, I don't know how, but we knew what size we needed the boxes to be a lot earlier on. And so, we went to Hobbycraft and we measured stuff and we worked it out. And then I bought foam as well. So I can get these like foam sheets and
Just
so
these are like the offcuts.
This one, which I don't know if you can tell.
It's
kind of cross, so you can just push out individual squares.
So we would get the MOC and push out the section so that it then sits snug inside the foam and doesn't move. We didn't manage to do that for this one, but we've still got time. But that one seemed a lot more organised, the elf one. But I think because we struggled so much with the just bring it in one. The problem is when you bring it in one, you put it down and you're pretty much set up. Whereas if you put it in 8 boxes, you've got setup time. So you have to be at the shows slightly earlier. But it does feel easier in the boxes, I feel.
And so for this one, we made sure that it would all go in boxes, but we didn't tailor the size of the boxes, and that has resulted in us going with
we've got like 10 boxes,
so we can't fit the MOC and the kids in the car at the same time. It's not a problem yet, but I think
it will be a problem.
Black Country Brick Show, we have to have solved that by, because that one we take the kids in the car with us to my parents, leave them there, and then go to the show. Fit in the car at the same time.
Andy's suggestion, there's always expanding foam, and that's because Andy knows that we tried expanding foam, and the foam just kept expanding. And went all the way round the MOC, so we had to kind of break it back out of the MOC. We don't recommend expanding foam. Don't do that one.
No. It was an interesting experiment.
It was,
So for this new MOC, what we did was we've got foam boards. And so but they're not as thick as this foam.
And also not easy to cut.
More kind of the thickness. These are like the thin sheets of foam that we would use for padding, and so it's kind of about the same thickness as that. And so you actually need to stick multiple ones of them together in order for it to actually fit. So that was interesting.
We didn't video the expanding foam because we were in so much stress because this was literally the day before the show. Sorry.
The expanding foam, I think it could possibly work, but we worked out for each section of the MOC, you pretty much use an entire can of expanding foam. So what we did is you got a bin liner and basically filled it with expanding foam. Then you set the MOC on top of it, so it will then push it out to the sides and come up around it. And so it would hold it quite tight. The problem is that it was for one of the top sections, and the top section has quite a big bit, and then just a flat bit that comes out the front, which is where the Silent Mary then sits on.
Because
that was quite a flat bit that came out. That's where the foam then went up around the sides and held it a bit too snugly. So we managed to get it out okay, but then when it came to pack up time, couldn't get it back in properly at all.
It was fun. It was a learning curve. And it would have been too expensive. So
So, if you used one can to do like all 4 sections, then it would have been great. But when it's 1 can per section, it's just like that's not a viable way of doing it.
No.
You don't really think about these costs. You spent a fortune on your MOC, but then the amount on boxes and foam and things. It's kind of just easier to rebuild it when it gets there.
It's kind of sort of secondary, isn't it? Because it's so much effort and maybe frantic activity trying to get the thing built in the first place, and then a lot of the time,
we're not doing that again. We're going to do it More early.
More early.
We're going to do exactly the same thing.
No, we're not. We're not.
The only difference is we get an extra week because they've moved Steam back a week.
Yeah,
that's
true.
the only difference it's going to be.
No, we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. It's going to be fun.
Just do it just before breakup of school or something.
Yeah, we're starting April.
We're starting April.
Yeah, we'll finish in July.
And you can start after Reading
when it comes around. Yeah.
Because Black Country's at the start of April, isn't it? And then Reading's towards the end.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'd be good. So when you're sort of planning your MOCs as well, because they're kind of sort of child friendly, I want to say, because they're not really sort of dark themes. They're always quite sort of nice to look at and colourful. Do you think being like a family yourselves has kind of influenced your approach to stuff like that?
I think the first show we went to, the kids were what made it. So you build for them because they are quite rewarding to come back to. I mean, the elves MOC we did because I love elves, so that was just coincidence that it's colourful and there's not too much darkness in that because it's based on a kids show. So, but yeah, the coral reef, just it kids like the sea, it would seem, and they were just like, I understand all of these things. So it was just fun to do. But colourful is the main brief, I feel.
I mean, I feel one of the fun bits was the first show that we did, Steam with the coral reef. We had Mike Freeman was next to us. And he had his Batman stuff. And so it was really interesting because you'd get like the dads trying to look at the Batman stuff and the kids trying to drag them over to look at the colourful coral reef kind of thing.
And clearly the kids are in charge of these shows.
Yes.
So. Oh yeah.
But then I know we've had the same thing. There was a great point where we were next to you.
Oh yeah.
And the kids, I think it was the elves MOC, and the kids were trying to drag the fence along. And the dad just went, "No, I'm looking at this."
Sometimes you've got to stand your ground.
I think it shows it's nice to have a mix. I think that's the thing. You want bright and colourful stuff for the kids. You want the more nostalgic thing for the parents, or the highly detailed stuff that people can look at.
Ours get like more adult as the kids get bigger, so that they can. Like if they're really into Harry Potter, will we start doing Harry Potter MOCs?
Probably not.
Nope. I think the stuff you can do for sort of the older market is kind of pop culture and things, and I'm so far removed from that I wouldn't know what to do. Like, I don't understand about video games. I don't understand about what the popular TV shows are, but I do understand elves and fish. So I can do those. Elves and fish.
Sounds like a good double act. Elves and fish.
I mean, I think so. It depends. So the plan so far, as I said, we've done the coral reef, which came from the city. The elf stuff is going to go into the city.
Yeah.
The coral reef is a rework of the first one. So again, that's going into the city.
So it's whether we do something else that we work on that go back in the city, because then we are killing two birds with one stone. We're taking something we can display, but we're also improving the city at the same time, which we're kind of neglecting to do the show. So it's a win. Or do we just do something random that we want to do but we can't fit in our city, and we can like tick it off and then break it down? But we've not broken a MOC down yet, so I don't know how I feel about that. We put a lot of work into these things. Odd.
And so what was it then that was the first thing that made you think, actually, let's take this to a show? Was it just the fact that you were so proud of actually the way the coral reef was going that you thought, actually, we want to share this with more people? Or was there something else as well that maybe gave the spark?
We were enjoying going to shows, and I think we were like, well, how can we do this without having to pay every time to go into the shows. So kind of, we could probably bring something along. But also, I think you'd been told, you should take that to shows because we obviously showed off our coral reef on the channel.
Yeah.
So people were like, that's really good. You get good feedback. You're like, maybe we could take it to a show and use some other people.
I think there's also, you find out that there's more to shows than
just going to
the
watch
kind of
them.
displaying. That there's for a lot of them, there's evening meals and there's other activities that go with them. And so it was also, to get involved in that, you pretty much had to do a mock. I know now with you can also do the volunteering side of it, or I think Bricktastic now you can pay an amount, and that gives you access to all of the activities, but you don't have to do any volunteering. You don't have to produce a set, which is quite interesting.
Paying to go to a convention? That sounds like an American thing.
That's paying to display.
Oh, of course, okay. Yeah, we don't have to pay to display.
No.
We thought we'd try it from the other side of the table. It looked interesting.
Yeah. So I think there was a slightly. So we signed up for Steam. We then didn't sign up for any shows that happened after Steam. Until we'd actually done Steam. So there was that. So there were quite a few that we still went to after our first display, where we were still paying and just going as visitors. But then since then, most of the shows that we go to, we're displaying at. The exception for that is Sheffield.
Which was last week.
So we went to Sheffield at the weekend.
It's nice to go to a show where you're not displaying sometimes, just to relax and not worry about getting there on time. But at the same time, you then miss out on all the fun of an evening. But it's fun. It's different.
You get the FOMO, then you're like, oh no, what are they all doing afterwards?
Oh, yeah.
What crazy raffles?
Crazy raffles, auctions and things. But I definitely feel like we inspired quite a few of you to also then sign up because we had so much fun. We were very clear. This is really good fun. You should do it. And then by Reading, everyone had signed up as well. So, and the difference between displaying as the only person there and then displaying with your friends, because we did Steam and then Bricktastic, just us, wasn't it? Our first Bricktastic was just us, and then you lot all joined, and that changes the displaying into a much more social occasion.
I think, so I think we've done some shows, as a group, but when we've done them by ourselves, some of them have been really good still. So, like Steam, as you said, we were in that weird little bit at the end of the tunnel where there weren't many people, and so for a lot of it, it was literally just us and Mike, because the other displayers were off doing other things, and so it was quite isolating. I think if we've got the two of us showing, so there's always both of us there to talk to each other, kind of thing. If you were there by yourself, it could have been quite lonely. And I think our first Bricktastic was a similar thing. We were next to Nicholas, the British land ambassador, but he was part of the
Brick Masters
build stuff. So he was very rarely there. He was off doing other things because they're cooked in the show. And so again, you kind of felt if it hadn't been the two of us, it wouldn't have been great. But then at our first time at the Black Country Brick Show, we were next to Floss. Who, if you've not met Floss,
she's hilarious.
Floss is hilarious.
So she does the flowers.
She does the flowers. I think she's Scouse. She's in Northern Brickworks. She does amazing flowers, and she is properly crazy. You get to meet people doing that, and so it's really nice. But obviously, if you're going with a group of people, then you're guaranteed to have people who you can talk to. And even with Steam this year, we weren't actually near any one who we signed up with, but we were next to
Mike and Erica.
Yes, the other Mike from the Wedding Brick Show, and so you're still chatting and stuff and having fun. So I think a show, how you get on at a show really depends on whether you're surrounded by people who you can have a chat with, who you can have a laugh with. Because particularly when it's 2 days on your feet, if you're doing that and all of your interaction is just with the people coming to look at the MOCs, it can get very repetitive.
Yes, you have your own little script, don't you?
Yeah.
See, look all these people that we've made do this. Sorry, everybody. Sorry.
It's good because you kind of have done sort of a fair amount then in the community, Lego community as well, because you've done so we do the shows, but you've also done some mosaics for some of the shows as well, wasn't it? And various parts.
I was trying to get a picture of. I forgot to get the picture of the actual finished things, but we thought we'd try a collaborative build. Our very first collaborative build was the art project for Brickish, and I think that
this one.
No, this was an Instagram challenge that we did.
Okay. So these were our first MOCs.
Yeah, these are our first MOCs essentially. So it's 2020 Christmas, and we're new to the community essentially. We've been doing it for like 4 months maybe, and we decide we're going to take part in this Instagram challenge. But we have got the most limited parts ever because we were set builders. We only had sets.
Right.
And we've been to the pick-a-brick wall maybe once or twice. So we had the blue tiles.
What?
Yeah. So the collection you see now was nothing like it at all. So see, there's the blue tiles again. We had to build these and then take them apart because we had such limited. Is it that we had limited parts, or is it that we couldn't be able to go up and find parts and we only had what
we had very limited parts?
So we only had a couple of pick-a-brick boxes worth of stuff, and I think every day was a slightly different Christmas theme. But we would do this downstairs watching the telly, just trying to make something. This is Ian's Grinch that.
I like the Grinch.
Yeah, the Grinch was awesome.
That's a nice use of that piece as well. As his little.
Yes.
Great.
I feel like the little tuft of hair at the top using the seaweed piece.
The seaweed. And are those frogs? Have you used some frogs?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh no, they're not. They're the carrot tops.
Carrot tops.
Oh yeah, carrot tops.
They look like frogs, but they're not. So it just got us into actually thinking about how to use parts, and obviously they're mosaics, so you're not. I thought that was quite a good way of the fact that we didn't have the pieces, so the challenge was to have a base plate, but we obviously had to cut it because we'd gone over in places. But you did that one. I was very impressed with that one.
Did I?
Oh, did I do that?
There's
no way I did that. I did that one. I mean, again, limited parts.
Talk about cutting base plates again.
No, we didn't literally cut them. Don't worry. But I just sort of cropped the picture so you couldn't tell. I think so we had lots of flower pieces. There's some flower pieces, but just trying to make it work.
Gingerbread. Oh god,
they weren't the best, but this is humble beginnings. This one was a movie. This is
I mean, you can tell you know what movie that is.
I know what movie that is. I can see what movie that is.
I think in the comment he was like yippee-ki-yay. So
you can't tell that that's Die Hard.
I mean, so that's clearly Alan Rickman, isn't it? It's like
that's so funny. But again, small amount of parts. Still got it. There's a little sleigh with a factory. I think you did that one.
Yes, that looks like one of mine.
Yeah, because you'd use like snot techniques to get things to work, and I'll be like, I'm just going to do the plain mosaics.
Poor girl, she's been decapitated.
No, she's in there. It's fine. That was our mosaic. So that was our first set of MOCs essentially. That's how far we've gone.
So that was the first bit in the community as well, then, wasn't it? Which one was it then? It was.
So in
it's here, isn't it?
In the show notes.
It's not.
I labelled it as art. I think art 1 and 2 maybe.
Yeah.
Show MOCs.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
The art plan.
It's me, my brain.
So this doesn't really look like much of a thing. But it then went into was there like 24 tiles per picture or something?
I think it depended on the piece of artwork.
Yeah. And I would say we signed up for this because we were like, we want to do a collab. It would be really fun. And then we got the most boring tiles possible. And it was in no way fun. And we just did this because we had to get it done.
I think it's slightly weird. If you take any piece of artwork and you split it into, say, a grid with 24 squares in it, most of those squares are boring.
Yeah.
You don't think of it, but when you look at, like, if you take something like Mona Lisa, yes, the face is interesting, but you know, half of those grid squares aren't going to be anywhere near the face.
No.
So they're just a bit of boring background kind of thing.
So I don't think our first collaboration went very well because we signed up for it. We got boring tiles. We didn't pay attention to half the rules. So like we built them and then we realized we had to add like attachment points and things. So we had to rebuild them all. And then the one that with the sausages, we again didn't follow the rules and they had to take it. They took all the sausages off because they weren't allowed. So I would say sometimes you should sign up for things, and if it goes badly, try again because we didn't enjoy that one. But the result looked pretty cool, which I haven't included.
I'll explain the sausages. So to do this, there were multiple different ones that you could sign up for. So there was, I think, one where you just used dots. There was one which was greebling, and then there was ours, which was just it
was meant to be plates on top of plates.
Yeah.
So
it
was the most part intensive.
We used the sausages. So this is, as you can tell, a cobbled street. So
can you tell?
So the black lines are doing the shadows for the cobbles to give you the shape of them. So I wouldn't consider that greebling.
Because just adding a bit of detail in.
Because you're just adding detail. But they decided it was greebling and so took them all off.
I think they wanted it to look consistent across the build. I get why they did it, but we were like, oh, that's annoying. Because it's not what we'd done essentially. But when you saw the actual builds in full, they did look cool, and we're like, oh, we were part of that, so it was nice to be a part of something. But I don't know. So if I can show you vaguely what she says, if I put this up, is that actually the other one? That's that one, yeah. So let's bring it a little closer.
Come on. Move over there. There you go. Okay, yeah.
Hello. Can you point at the one that's ours?
So which one is it? I can't.
Go on, keep pointing. Other side.
Is that, over.
Right there. That's ours.
Oh
no. Try again. So we're at the bottom right, essentially.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So in the picture, it looked pretty cool, but I don't know. I liked the concept, which is why I wanted to do it, but I didn't realize it would be quite so boring. So it's not always a good thing. They denied our sausages. They did return our sausages. I don't know when we get the rest of it back because I think that's done. But it was nice to be involved in something, and it got us through the project support process once, so we knew how to do that for the next time. So,
okay.
Cool. Everything's worth trying, I guess.
Yeah,
but don't leave it to the last minute like we did. So,
would you do another one?
We are doing another collaborative build with the seafront one. So we signed up for that.
Excellent.
So I haven't put us off collaborative builds, but it's like think about whether it's actually going to be rewarding to you, because it's all well and good going, oh, I was part of that, but if you didn't enjoy being part of it, like, what was the point?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We got a brick out of it.
Yeah, we got a brick out. It's always the important thing, isn't it? I guess a collaborative build sounds like there's going to be a lot of collaboration, and there's not.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's everyone does their own bit, and then they turn up at the show and they get put together.
Yeah. I think you think you're gonna be bouncing ideas off each other. That's not how.
That didn't
work.
really happen at all.
So, but I think you could make it like that if if you show people, oh, what do you think of this? But when we all had really distinct rubbishy sections, like, does this look like the section I'm meant to have? Yes.
Yeah.
Or no? Like, I don't know. There wasn't really much to it. Oh, you see, yeah, Tex says that the Brick Huntress one was better because you just got the colours. Yeah, and that one was really cool to see.
Oh, you would have seen it in person as well, wouldn't you?
We did, yeah. But you needed to be further back to see it properly. So if you're right up close, and you couldn't. There was the list of all the people that had contributed, but you couldn't say which was Tex Square or
no.
There was no way to know.
Oh, okay, that's quite cool.
I'm trying to think if on
there's no way
the
to
British
know.
one
No,
they
no one,
listed who
no
took
one
part.
would know. We showed everyone. We're like, I did that bit.
Do they not have like a list then of people who took
I
part?
don't think so.
On the side or anything?
No. Because at the last show they took it to, they forgot to even take what the picture should look like. So you're like, I suppose it roughly looks like a piece of art that I don't know about. So.
Yeah.
Because did they have a list then on Kate Brick Huntress's?
She had a list of all the people.
She did.
Yeah.
It should include everyone's name because then it'd be like, because maybe then they'd be, what else have they done? And
yeah, exactly.
That way, and
good for them.
which is is that the first one of those sort of things they've done as well? Do you know, or that style maybe?
So they've done quite a lot of collaborative builds with Steam, with Brickish. You had like all the big figs. Do you remember seeing all those massive big figs?
Yes,
they were. Yeah. Again, it was you go and build your big fig and then bring it along. So I think it is just because it's harder to organise if you all have to be involved in every decision. So
I mean, I guess so. The Seafront one again, similarly, it's we've signed up and we've chosen which one to do, and we'll get essentially a parts pack at some point
soon,
hopefully. But there wasn't that much collaboration. But then the pier section was all done by people at one of the meetups.
I think it is.
I think
that's
meetup. So I think at that point it's a bit more collaborative because you're going to the pub and you're talking about it, kind of thing.
Yeah. So you could say, "Oh, I'm going to do this here in my section," or "I'll pick up that idea in my section and make it like a running theme would work." Yeah, I don't know if that's how they did it, but I can see that working better.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'd looked at that Seafront one, and it's like, I'd be interested, but I've got something else. I'm trying to get my other stuff sorted out first. It's like,
and that I guess that's the thing. Don't sign up for too many things at once because it gets stressful.
Yes, very stressful.
So the advantage of the Seafront one though is that they've done it. They've basically gone. There are 4 shows that we want to take it to. And you have to take it to at least one of them, kind of thing. And so, because I think if it had been, it had to be done for Steam, we'd have just gone, no, we can't do that because that's when we show off our new MOC, so we have to have our new MOC finished for that. But the fact that we signed up saying, well, the first show we'll take it to is Bricktastic, it gives us that extra time to work on it.
Yeah, and with the art one, you need every single piece for that picture, so it's a lot more pressure. Whereas that one, you bring your section or you don't. It's not going to be noticed if it's not there. So I think that's less. I like the less pressure
for the picture
approach.
one. You had to have posted your section before a certain date because obviously then, if they didn't get all the sections, they'd have had to very quickly make up the missing ones. Because you couldn't display it with a square missing because that person hadn't done it, kind of thing. So, and that was a bit.
Yeah, because that was an extra cost that you then have to foot to send things. And then you're worried that what if it doesn't make it? You put that work in. But it was all fine. It was all fine.
Yeah. I'll maybe avoid. I'm going to not go for any art ones, maybe.
Yeah.
Personally.
Just read the fine print.
Well, I suppose because the Seafront's got like a standard, isn't it? That it's got to be so tall, so wide, and stuff, which does help a bit because you've got the template already there. Did you have like a template for the Elves MOC as well? Each of the modules, just thinking about it.
because we had like water running through it, so you knew that on one bit you had to then match up. Ian had drawn a picture.
I have got a picture.
Cool.
It's not a very good picture to show on here. You make it.
Yeah.
So we knew roughly where things were going.
Well, this is my plan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, as you can see, it's not hugely detailed.
No.
It's got the important thing that there's a hill on one side, a mountain on the other, and a waterfall in the middle. I mean, what more do you need to know?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so when we got to the bit where like the waterfall met the mountain and stuff, then we'd have to work together on that bit.
Yeah.
Mostly my section was mountain, and I didn't have to worry about your section.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I think definitely make it easier to not be together. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, on the illusions of the Brick Bods. Oh, it's just shattering.
Yeah. it's really hard to mock with someone else.
Yeah.
You, especially if you're trying to work on it at the same time, like you need the space. I think it worked well, the mock, the elves mock. Which would you say was our most stressful mock of the two? Because I don't count the coral reef.
You don't count the coral reef.
The first coral reef I don't count.
The new coral reef was definitely stressful.
But that was your fault, right? I would agree that was definitely the more stressful. I'd say it was your fault.
Would you?
Yeah.
So I went from thinking you were doing an entire quarter of it to you were just doing the bottom section, and so I was constantly in flux as to which
I
bit
did a
you
whole
were
quarter.
doing.
What did I? Well, I did the rock work. I did enough that I think I'm claiming a quarter.
Yeah.
I did a quarter of it.
Yeah.
It's like my side, your side.
Yeah. Which turtle?
Yeah, I was going to say.
the turtle at the bottom of
the turtle is one of the actual elf sets.
Yes.
I don't know.
I'm assuming that's what it means, but I'm not sure how you'd work out it's a turtle. So if I show it again.
Oh, hang on.
It looks roughly like a turtle.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
That bit down
We haven't labelled it, but I think that's obviously a turtle.
Okay. I wouldn't have said that. But yeah, it is the water spirit from the so it might have a name. I don't know.
I think that's the thing. We knew which sets we were trying to get in and how, so we were like arranging the sets. So that I think that always helps. Look, the coral reef, those caves were all made from scratch, and we had to work out what we were doing. Whereas the elves mock, it was we've got all these sets, we want to put them on. How can we landscape it? So it was a lot less out of our heads, as such.
Well, so the reason I did that sketch is because Black Country Brick Show, when you applied, it said that they either wanted a picture of it or a drawing explaining what it would be like. And so I did that, and then you applied without sending them the picture.
I didn't know there was a picture, sorry. Yeah, I went, it's going to be an elves mock. Just trust us.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We're supposed to send a picture. Oh dear, sorry, Paul.
I'm sorry that I didn't make your picture part of the process.
I thought
it's beautiful.
Yeah, but that's all you need there really for the initial start of the mock, though, isn't it? It's just you've got an idea of the shape of where it's going, and and then it's details. It's all good.
Do you always plan your mocks before creating them? Says Emily. The one with the coral reef to start with, no, because you started.
Yeah, no, the coral reef was literally just where can I put pieces?
The other two we definitely did, and my most recent one, you lot helped me plan, so that was helpful.
Yeah. So I mean, the inspiration for the elves mock and how the layout came about is based purely on one of the episodes of Elves where you've got the kind of main character singing and this other character singing, and they're basically stood on either side of what is essentially the waterfall there. So that's where it all started, is that very bit at the back, where you've got kind of the rocks for the good side where the person would be on there singing, and then the outcrop from the other side with, I can't remember which of the villains it was singing. So that's where that whole thing started from, and then it was just, well, how does that translate into a MOC? So you're like, well, obviously we'll need a mountain on the one side and rockwork on the other side, so that you've got that point where the waterfall meets, and then that's obviously going to then have to have a stream coming down from it. Then it's like, well, once we've got the stream, we can then open it out more into sea, so that we've got space for the boat and stuff like that. So that's kind of how it all comes about. It just spreads out over the base plates, essentially.
Yeah. I love this MOC. It's just so colourful. We didn't do too much adding to this MOC along the way. The main additions were the hanging parts that we then added in. Because I'd say it was more finished to start with than the coral reef to start.
So I will say, we took the coral reef, the first one, to steam. Then, if you see the little sign at the front of the elves one that says the Brick Bods, we built that at Bricktastic.
Yeah.
So Kay built it along with a little YouTube sign and stuff like that. And so we slowly built up all of this stuff. When we took the elves MOC to steam, we forgot all of that.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a brick with our names on. We didn't have any signage. We had nothing. We literally just had the MOC.
Yeah, we forgot all the gumps that went with it. I mean, to be fair, the first time we took the coral reef to Bricktastic, we forgot the boat, which was structurally important. So we always forget something.
That's true.
Not the Silent Mary, the blue boat, right?
No, the little boat that held
right, okay, that's fine. I mean, oh god.
It was super important though, because otherwise
the way the shark was attached, there's basically a string that ran from the shark's mouth to the boat. So you can just about see it. So it comes up the back. That is a load-bearing string.
Yeah,
without it, the shark falls off.
Oh, okay.
So we got to Bricktastic and we were missing the boat and the string.
Yeah.
And so we had to run around and find them so that we could have it there.
Yeah, we bought the boat from someone, one of the sellers there.
Yeah.
And then we had the figure that was part of the Avatar set that we were taking apart. So we were lucky to have that. And then someone was, they had a string on their MOC that they weren't really using it. Like they planned to use it and they're like, I can live without it. So we borrowed that from them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the nice things about shows is if you do forget stuff, like the pod race MOC, they needed an axle, and I just walked over to Hugh from the GBC and I was like, have you got an axle about this size? And he's like, yes, I do. And they could then make the pod racer MOC go. So people always help at the shows, which is nice.
That's cool. And then this was the other build that you're just talking about, the showcase build, isn't it, as well? So this was designed by the community. I did not do it all alone. In fact, my favourite scene, my little squirrels toasting it. I'm not sure you asked for a bin fire for them, but I couldn't work out how to get a candle in, so I was like, I'll just set the bin on fire and they can toast their marshmallows on that. And purple fireworks as well. That's cool. But this was an expansion, wasn't it, of a lug meat build as well that you did? Yeah.
So I'd say that the lug meats have definitely helped me feel confident building stuff. Because we're starting, it's always 16 by 16 plates. There's no, you have to create this awesome massive thing. And it's enough to tell a small story in. And I've really enjoyed doing that. So to then get the opportunity to extend it was quite nice. You definitely need string to hold things together. Or blue tack. Blue tack is good.
Yeah.
Yes, I can definitely attest to blue tack. I've got lots of things with blue tack. How's that balance there? Oh, well, it's magic, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. I think as I say halfway, halfway-ish, if we just take a quick pause and we'll have a look at to do like the MOC review, and then if we come back, then we can.
Yep, sounds good.
I've got some more questions about then the new current Coral Reef 2.0. I think it was, wasn't it? So I'll just do this while I do the jiggery pokery. God,
We'll do some dancing while you wait.
Oh, there you
I won't.
Not a dancer, are you?
Not at all.
Not a singer either. You're a mocker.
Mocker, yeah. There you are. That's all you need. We'll start then with the one that you've picked. And I'll bring it up on the screen as well. There you go. So I'll let you take it away.
I mean, so this mocker, like, she always comes up on my feed on Instagram, and I don't spend much time on Instagram. I think the more mocks I see is probably from Mock the Week on London Calling. I like to go to shows and see them. I'm not very good at looking at Instagram, but this is Virginia Bricks, and she just does such amazing mosaics. And I don't know, in my head, a mosaic is a lot easier to achieve than an actual big scene. But then the things she does in them, I don't know how I would go about starting doing these things. So this is one of her most recent ones, and she uses colour really well, but she also uses absence of colour really well. I love this one. And it's greebling. We all look at that. She gets such depth into her mocks as well. I don't know. How does she do it?
It seems to be like a new, I don't know if it's new really as such, but it seems to be quite a popular approach at the moment, isn't it, to do sort of like greebling style mosaics at the moment. I don't know if it was people in the community that started it or
there are some really good greeblers out there as well. We saw some good ones at Bricktastic. You don't even realise they're greebled until you then walk up close. I mean, look, there's a dog in there. How cool is that?
There's also the white guitar as well, isn't there?
Yeah, and then the little horse head from the CMF series. And I just like I've always liked like art that you get closer to see more. But yeah, this is cool. But not even just the greebling ones she does. She does some really fantastic just shaping with dots. And obviously there must be like bricks and things underneath to make the shapes, but it just looks like the thing is curvy. And like, how have you done that? But yeah, look how cool this is, Ian. Isn't it cool?
Yes.
I just think I'm like, I feel like I could do this, and then I look at it and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, how would you go about doing this kind of stuff? I guess you'd work out what you need to put where, and this is what I did to the crab, really, isn't it? You start just chucking bits on and getting things to stay on them. Yeah. So, but it always looks a lot more measured when someone else does it.
Yeah,
like having the horse there, but then the hobby horse stick part in black because it needs to be black there. I don't know.
Oh yeah, kind of helps the color separation, doesn't it? Then as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. And I don't know how you'd start doing one of these because.
No, I guess do you map out your thing in just plates and then you start putting on all your connection points for your big pieces and then you just see what fits? I mean, who was the one? We looked at someone recently on London Calling, didn't we? And he took a video of him doing it, and that was, it's so impressive. But you're putting bits on and then taking them off again and going, no, that doesn't quite work. Putting them on again.
I guess as well, though, if some of the shapes that you use for some of these parts as well, you've got the danger of it maybe going over the invisible line. Maybe
you've got to keep to those sections, and they have. I mean, maybe that bat wing is slightly gone, but not enough that it makes a difference to the picture.
But I think in some ways that makes it slightly better because if it's too obviously you've got a circle and it's completely smooth, then you lose some of it. It's the fact that you've got that small bit of texture where it just overlaps outside of it.
That's what draws your eye to see what it is that's making it look like that. Yeah, that little back wing sticking over makes you think, oh, hang on, this isn't actually a black and white flat image.
I guess. Yeah, it pulls you in, doesn't it, then? Because you just walk past it and you'd just be like, oh, it's just a skull. And you'd be like, oh, what's wrong with that? And you'd look at it and you're like, oh, my God.
Yeah, and I love the fact that she's also put, like, the pattern in the background. The repetition of that, just beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of like really uniform versus like the, I don't know, I want to say chaos of this bit.
Yeah.
It's a bit.
Yeah, and she's done other ones in the past where she's done like really beautiful, colourful flowers, and then the rest is black and white so that it pops. But then she did the reverse, so the bit that was colourful in one MOC was then black and white in the other one, but together they just look really, really good. Yeah, you have to get closer to see what they've used. And sometimes you're like, what? How did they think to use that? But I guess this is why we store your parts by colour.
Well,
just grab a drawer.
Definitely. I mean, because I think one of the ones when you do it in color as well, you can have like a normal brick, and you can just have like a round dot on the top. So you then got like, it's almost like the colors are mixing a bit then as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was really cool. Have they had any of these in any of the shows in the UK as well?
There's definitely a guy, I think he's Scottish. He does quite a lot of the greebling. He was like across from us at Bricktastic, I think, last time. He did the little stitch. At Bricktastic, there was 2 stitches once. He had the smaller, 2 stitches. Okay. He was the one, him and his wife, they had the dots so people could make their own mosaic whilst they were there.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
Yeah.
How many white parrots? I guess you can do stuff as well with this, can't you? And like hide things in there and say, like how many rabbits can you find in the mosaic and stuff. And
I love that kind of stuff in at shows. We're quite competitive on Sunday at Sheffield, trying to find things. They're like, find how many elves trolls there are, and she was like, there's 11, and we're like, well, there's only 10 different ones, so how have you got 11? She's like, oh yeah, you're right, 2 of them are the same.
So yeah, I'm an elves expert here, so
we know.
So that's Virginia Bricks on Instagram, and definitely worth checking her page out as well, isn't it? And,
they're beautiful. And does she run the Mosaic Mondays, or is she just always contributing to it?
I can't remember. Sure. I think she's taken part in the Halloween thing at the minute that Kate's doing with Brickham. Right. I'm sure I saw something on there when I was perusing her page. But yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Really nice choice. And let's see, and me. That's my age, 2.6 in case I was wondering. So I found this one from brianbrickster. I had this little moment and I thought, oh no, it's horrendous, isn't it? Because it just looks really quite crisp, but actually there is some discolouring in the bricks which you can't get which is like, oh my goodness. Because I do find sometimes you see something and you're like, oh, is that a render? Because it looks a bit too good, but yeah, fortunately this is real. I've picked this one. Again, it's just a nice thing, but I think it's similar to the mosaic actually. There's just quite a lot of sort of texture going on with this one. So they've got the bricks go in 2 different directions. So you've got the bit at the front where the bricks are going one direction, and all the bit here where you've got all the tiles and the flooring coming apart, and then like all the walls that are kind of crumbling as well, which is just a really nice effect in Lego, I find. And it's good seeing what bricks that they've used to try and get the idea across as well. And I really do like the idea that people are using like some of the older bricks when they are slightly discoloured for scenes like this, and I think it just helps give it a bit of realism again, doesn't it? Because it is then more tumble down. But again, some nice part usage in the background as well. You've got like the fence piece with just those. I'm not too sure what they are, but I think there's those. The new bars with like the little ring on them. Like I think they're pneumatics technically. So I think they've got those in there. But then minifigure legs either side of it, just like some poor.
I don't like it when people take minifigures apart though. Just feels bad because they never go back together quite the same, do they?
No, the legs definitely don't go back together the same. They always seem a bit loose afterwards.
Yeah.
But legs crack as well, don't they? You're using too much. But yeah, another really nice one. And I think the tree's quite nice the way you've got it.
It goes through the wall. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then use the one of those cable pieces to just wrap around it just to give it a bit more texture. And they've got similar everywhere as well. So you've got like a bit here, some there, and small viney bits here and there. So.
I kind of want to see what's inside the walls though, because they're quite thick walls. Like the structure, that's what I always like about a MOC, is seeing inside as well. How have you done this kind of thing?
Yeah,
is it solid or not?
Because he's got, again, it's got, because the bricks are going like normal way there, then sideways there must be a lot of not trickery as such, but sort of some sort of engineering going on inside. Yeah. Excuse me. I don't know what this is though, these pieces here. Or if they just,
are they like the bits that go on car? The hubcap, not the hubcap bits, but the wheel arch? Oh no, maybe it's a helmet at a weird angle.
Yeah, this, because it's on really weird if it.
Yeah,
hat, isn't it? It's
because it's not got the flat bit that you would find.
Is it a fireman's helmet backwards?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
It could be actually. Yeah, because it
looks
looks like
that
there's
hole
a visor.
where the visor goes. Yeah.
Oh, it must have a hole in the top maybe then, because they've got it plugged in just to keep it in place maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I like the fact that they've just got a couple of bits sort of strewn across the table to support the fact that it's falling down. Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just another way of expanding the build, isn't it? When people do that. I've seen that a couple of times at shows as well. But yeah.
Is that whip even connected, or is it just tucked in under the leaves?
I think yeah, that's just tucked in.
Yeah.
That's not actually.
Is that cheating? I love that. Like, I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
but
it's just wrapped around.
Is it allowed? Is it legal?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, good. It won't. Yeah. It's not like it's producing stress on the pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you would have just been able to put that 3-thing plant, leaf plant, and just sort of use it as a lock, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just loop it around there. Yeah. But yeah, another cool one. And then just a little bit more. You can clearly see the yellowing of the bricks there. So don't throw out your old bricks. They're very useful.
No, they definitely add to it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's actually 2 legs he's used as well. That seems even worse somehow. Yeah. Just ripped off the 4 legs. Yeah.
I mean, how is that a pose that Minifig Who does? Yeah, it is. It looks like his arms are too wide, but I think it's right.
I think he's.
How has he got the cape to stay so billowy?
There's 2 capes he's got there, so I think he's got one that's maybe a
bit of floof.
Yeah. I think they could be custom arms actually, because I mean you can get them. They are a bit more sort of a bit more outstretched, can't you?
Yeah. So beautiful.
So that is brianbrickster on Instagram as well. Worth checking out. We've got loads of really nice builds and creations on there as well. I think he probably goes to shows as well. I think so. Worth having a look. But anyway, let's go back to the guests. We have the 2 guests still with us.
Do you often lose them at this point?
I forget where the buttons are. How do I get them back? So obviously you have a new MOC for the shows for starting Steam. I couldn't think of the name of the convention then.
For the rest of the year.
So going back to actually something that Ian mentioned, did you, when you did the Mindstorms, is there anything in that maybe you sort of had in the back of your head that you wanted to make use of? Because obviously you've got like the motorized part.
Yeah. So when I did the Mindstorms stuff, obviously it was heavily into the kind of control of it and do more complex stuff. So Mindstorms you can program in a number of different phone languages, and so you can have it going forwards and backwards, so it allows you to do more complex movement. And so what we had is that section in the bottom corner. What was meant to happen is that kind of the cave is made up of essentially 2 doors that pull apart, and then monster comes forwards and then kind of opens kind of a mouth. I don't know how you describe it.
It's scary is what it is.
But so yeah, it was using the idea of having those different motions and being able to program it to do it, as opposed to having it on, you know, something that just spins round in a constant loop. It was having the more complex motion. And so, but then I moved away from using I use circuit cubes for all of the motors and the control units, because they're a lot smaller and they're a lot more friendly to work with from a kind of programming side of it. So yeah, and that was all very annoying and didn't work at the show. Yeah. So that
you've got to have something to work on between now and the next show.
So I'm currently in the process of reworking it so that hopefully it will work on an automatic timer, so everything goes around. So one of the problems we had is that essentially the doors open and then they stop because they hit a brick wall, and the motor will carry on trying to drive them for a little bit.
Right. Okay.
And then the motor's meant to cut out and do something else. I couldn't get the whole thing to work on a timer. I'm trying to do it manually. You'd have it try and open and then you try and tell it to stop. But if you tell it to stop in time, the whole circuit cube would actually restart due to it being worried that it would wear out the motors. You don't want if you're constantly telling it to open something that can't open, then they'll just burn out. And so the safety features were kicking in and causing all sorts of problems.
Right.
And so I need to rework it so that it uses more clutch gears, which means that then if something won't happen, then the axle will continue to spin and the gear will stay in place. So then I don't have to worry about that. But it's quite a bit of work to redo. I'm essentially having to run a chain from the front of the MOC all the way to the back.
Oh, okay.
So fortunately, we'd managed to get 250 chain links in lug bulk, and this uses 244 of them. So I've got a whole 6 there. So
wow! It's a luxury 6. I mean, you might need to use those if the loop coaster goes again.
This thing, you're like, why did we get these? Did we have a reason for them? And we're like, well, we can't remember, so just use them. It'll be fine.
Oh, we have a question from Greg as well, saying, have the Brick Bods learned to be more economic and streamlined with their design of MOCs? I.e., have they come up with techniques that save on the amount of bricks being used?
So if you look at the kind of the left-hand side, that essentially where you just got blue.
Oh, yeah.
So a big tall tower of blue. So the bottom half of that is made from Duplo and then switches into bricks halfway up. So we've used Duplo quite a lot I don't think we used it much in the elves.
No.
But in both the coral reefs, using it to create that structure at the back, kind of to give you height really quickly.
Yeah.
And then obviously a lot of this, like the dark tan, you've got a lot of burps in there, which give you the height quickly without having to use too many bricks.
And the boxes, like, they're not, there's empty bits in there, so you don't have to support some of it.
Yeah.
So my cave's quite shallow.
Yeah.
The mermaid cave goes quite far.
Yeah, the mermaid cave goes all the way back because there's then lights at the back of it as well. But I mean, just in the snot work on the front saves quite a bit because it means that not necessarily saving bricks, but means that you can use different colors and stuff, and it's all hidden by that front layer that goes over the top of it.
Yeah, if you take that layer of plates off, it's very colourful underneath. Yeah, there is Duplo in the Elves MOC. There isn't now because it's now in the coral reef. So.
Oh, there you are. It's escaped.
The chicken. Where is the chicken?
The chicken lives. So in this picture, it's behind the red thing.
Yeah,
on
the
left.
red thing moved, I think, somewhere else.
Possibly.
And then the chickens in that
So
little
the kind
cave,
of weird octopus creature thing on the far left.
Up here, this thing here.
Yeah. So the chicken goes in that cave.
Yeah, that cave behind him is just big enough for a chicken.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just have to use all the bricks to get it to work.
Yeah.
And you just have to be okay with that. It's expensive, but it's and especially with the coral stuff, you can't really skimp on pieces there because you need it to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one of the things we have done is the sea wall is made of base plates. So it's actually a base plate, then covered with a layer of plates, and then covered with a layer of trans blue tiles. But just using those base plates means that they're only attached at a couple of points. So again, that means that the inside of it is just a mismatch of colours and pieces. So it's not necessarily using less, but it frees you up to use whatever filler bricks you happen to have lying around.
Which is not many anymore because they're all in this.
But that's always like a good idea, isn't it? If you've got, like, as you say, like the filler bricks, so you can use those, so you don't have to spend money on like dark blue grey bricks or light blue grey bricks or whatever, because they tend to be the ones that disappear.
And you can use masonry bricks as filler because that really excites some people.
Yeah. Ian does not care for masonry bricks.
I did not know that. So and this breaks down into 8 pieces, you said, for transport?
Yes.
So each of the back sea walls is a separate section. So you've got 6 of those. You've got 4 along the back and 2 along the side. Then you've got the 4 caves at the front. So each of those caves is a separate piece. And then each on top of those is a separate piece as well.
Yeah. So the 6 panels for the water fit into 2 boxes.
Yeah.
You can get 3 in each, can't you?
They literally just stack like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have 8 boxes for the rest. So it's quite box intensive.
Yeah. Oh, and then there's another section which you can't see off the side, which is just a very basic
like an end. You can
just about see it. That's just to cover the edge of that box, really. And so the idea is that once this has finished its tour and goes into the city, I think because of the layout of the city, it means that bit's not needed.
Yeah.
So it's thrown together very quickly. And again, it mainly just uses burps and then a couple of other pieces just to break it up a little bit.
Yeah. It's not the exciting part of it.
No.
It's just a little bit of detailing or nice to have. And so all these bits as well, there's like a join there. So they're the 4 modules, wasn't it? You said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't really. They just push together, right? There's no actual. Joining of them.
You can join them together if you want to, but it doesn't really seem necessary.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's not like you're going to be moving it throughout the day, really, is it?
Yeah. It's quite heavy, so once you put it in place, it kind of just sits there.
Yeah.
Okay. What was with the mechanics then as well? Was it moving them? Did that maybe cause a problem?
We reckon that there were some tiles that needed to be really flat, and they became dislodged.
So the monster that comes out is quite big, and the mechanism that it sits on the whole thing has to move to go forwards, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's sat on quite a lot of tiles. And so I think some of those tiles just aren't quite down enough, and so they're catching an edge, and that's enough to throw the whole thing off.
Yeah, so it's
unfortunate, but we did get it working manually at least.
Yeah,
so that was fun.
Yeah, so the redesign should mean that if both those doesn't work, then it can all be done manually. So we just had the mouth open and closed manually, but this would allow it to do the doors, moving backwards and forwards. All of it would all be manually controlled from the back of the MOC.
And because that's where you can operate the eye from as well, isn't it? From the back as well, and give people a bit. Whose idea was the eye?
I think it was your idea.
That was my idea. It was slightly crazy.
Yeah, but
it works really well because
Mm.
it means we didn't really have to do much in that panel other than fit an eye in. But it's actually part of the most fun part because the kids see it and they're like, and it's so much fun.
Because you had this one on lower tables with the intention of so the kids could see more in general, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I also so I can see over it. Otherwise, I'd just be hiding behind the MOC hole.
Yeah. It's quite tall.
Yeah.
So as I said, the back sections are done with base plates. So actually on the other side that you can't see, so the front section that comes out on that left side, there's then also base plates on the other side of it as well, just to cover it up. Kind of thing. At the back, it's open and you can see the structure, but the side's covered. Okay. And so I think I worked it out that it is 69 studs tall, kind of thing. So as in, 69 studs and then hung vertically.
Right.
So that's quite a lot of height. Because that's what, over half a metre tall it must be.
Yeah,
so,
I think it is, isn't it?
You know, once you put that on the table, Carrie's quite short. So
put Carrie on the table as well.
Yeah.
So this will be going. This will be doing for a year.
Yes.
And then it'll be back to the drawing board for a.
Yeah. This will finally get to go back into the city.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yes. So we've got the start of December. We've got the Southampton Brick Fest.
Yeah, we'll be taking this and the elves.
Yeah.
Because we haven't taken the elves to that one before.
So that will be the last outing for the elves MOC. Yeah. So we will have both there.
Oh wow.
That's only because we live close enough that we can do 2 journeys.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
There's no way we could fit both in the car at the same time. So we will drop the one off, then drive back, pick up the other one, and go again. Kind of thing. So, but that should be fun having both there.
Yeah.
I guess.
Mine like your MOC.
Yeah.
The thing is, I guess when you drop one of them off, then like Ian can stay and start to do.
No, he's my muscle.
Yeah, no, I
he's your muscle.
Load the car again.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, okay. Does that mean we can do it then?
You want to set up a MOC?
You could try and work out how to set it up if you want.
We do all the tests.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you're going to let them do that. You won't even let me do it, but then I guess maybe I'm not as trustworthy as
You think we're trustworthy? Thanks, Ian. Oh, cheers.
Oh, dear.
Dear me. How have you found though working with like the sort of more electrical elements on this one versus in the other ones?
That's the stuff you like doing.
Yeah, it's been fun.
That's why we have so much like motorized stuff in our city, because you enjoy the geeky stuff in the nicest possible way.
Yeah. So what I really liked actually is the Little Mermaid grotto. So in this picture, it's not lit up, but so that uses, so it's got this like rope light which I've built into the back of it.
It's a beautiful light,
which does like the color runs through it, and then it's kind of behind a layer of blue tiles, but it gives you a really good light at the back when you see it. But then also there's UV lights running around the top of that section, so everything in there lights up. So that was really fun, just finding what pieces we could find that fluoresce.
Clickets.
And then there's the glow in the dark pieces as well, and working out how to combine all of those. I really like that.
That one was a problem though, because Ian stole a lot of, so from that original coral reef, he took a lot of the parts off of there that did fluoresce and put them in that cave. So that made it a lot sparser, and then we had to quickly try and find more bits to go in. So that added to the work at the last minute, but it's fine. I forgive you.
Yeah, so I really like that. Getting the eye to work, I was really happy that worked. But
that's not even electronic. That's just
that's just the mechanics of it and stuff. And that's what I like. The actual the attaching a motor to it isn't all that exciting. It's the working out how to get all of the movement to work. So getting the monster's mouth to open, that took quite a lot of work. I managed to find, I can't remember who it was, but there's a small video of someone who had got a flower that when you twisted it, the petals opened. So it was then taking that and expanding that and then going, right, so when it twists, it'll do that. So then how do I get that as it goes forwards, it twists? And so I had to, basically, it drags a long axle behind it, which then has a bit that sticks out the end. And then that goes through like a little obstacle course of slopes, which means that it twists around as it goes through. That's how the mouth then opens. So working all of that out was really fun. As I say, then attaching a motor to it is less.
He says it's really fun, but that was the period where you looked most stressed.
Maybe.
Yeah, but you enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's classic problem solving, and that's your thing. So, a lot of work went into the MOC before anything really looked like it had gone into the MOC.
Yes.
Like you'd spent ages on the MOC, but you had not very much to show for it because there was a lot of planning mechanics.
Yeah.
I suppose then trying to work out what needs to be programmed and timings and all sorts. I suppose that's, you don't need bricks necessarily.
There's a lot of frustration with your little Raspberry Pi and it's not going quite like it just didn't you break it at one point and had to reinstall it. There was a lot more technology stress than there should have been, or that we would ever have had before because you added a lot in. Yeah, and this isn't done. There's another mechanism that he wants to put in. I don't know if that's gonna go.
Yes,
but we made a decision. Right, we have to cut that bit because we're not going to get that done in time. Right, and that allows you to focus more on the monster.
Oh wow! So again, so similar to the other one, this is like its early form, and by the end of the year, it's going to be transformed yet again. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and that will look really cool because it's purple.
Oh yeah, good choice. Yeah,
we like purple.
So because you've so you've sort of upped or raised the bar for your show MOCs with this one, with the sort of the bigger and the more fancy with the mechanisms and lights. Have you do you feel like you have to do something like using those elements again and soming else?
Yeah, where do you go from here?
Yeah, without spoiling it, if you like.
Yeah, I don't know. I think as long as it looks good, it doesn't have to be ridiculously techy.
This one, it was that I came up with the ideas and worked out how to then use the tech to do them, as opposed to sitting there thinking, right, I want to get some movement in there. It was like, well, we need to have something that's going through the iron. So that's where I decided on having the monster. And then it's like, well, if we can have the monster moving, that'll be better. So then add the mechanism into it. And similarly with doing the lighting for the mermaids, it was like, well, it's going to be quite dark, so it needs to be lit up somehow. And so then it was exploring that and coming up with a couple of different ideas on how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason the mermaids are there is because we had that set and we didn't know where to put it, and so you essentially just took the whole set apart.
Yes,
because it's the clamshell that's essentially the base of the clamshell. And
so that's
we get the enjoyment from the set, but then we also get to keep the bits we like and incorporate it in.
So that clamshell bit is basically split into 3 sections that go deeper into the cave. So you've got that front section, which is kind of Ariel's little trove of treasures, and then behind that there's Ursula's little cave, and then right at the back is kind of Triton's throne room.
It works really well. But what was annoying about when he did that is that he took essentially the top of the clamshell off, and he's like, well, I don't need this bit, and he just sort of shoved the whole thing in my to salt drawer. And I'm like, why are you taking it apart? This is not to salt. This is completely just destroy it and destroy it.
It needed sorting.
Yeah, he just wedged it in. It was ridiculous. I was not impressed.
The other thing I was going to mention actually as well with this one, is just going up here, is we've got some jellyfish this time around because
we definitely needed jellyfish in there. Like we spent a whole year taking this mock round, and every time we say we need to add some jellyfish, and then we just never did. And so we finally did. Gordon's been sending me like jellyfish ideas like ever since. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yes, I must show that to Ian, or I must actually pull my finger out and make this myself.
Yeah.
We
so I think it was. So we have up in our city, for those people who aren't aware, we have the fairground can be controlled through the stream on a Sunday when I get it working sometimes.
It's a bit broken.
And so as part of that, there's a lot of rechargeable little battery boxes that go up and charge. And it was when I was charging those, I saw those trans pink parasol pieces just under the table. I don't know why they were there. And so I brought those down and made some jellyfish.
I think I probably bought them to make jellyfish. Like a lot of the time I'll buy stuff and then it just disappears into the house somewhere. So sometimes like you tidy things away and you forget. Like I found so many more pieces to put in the mock since I've been tidying up.
It could well be that the girls found them and then just sat and played with them kind of thing. So once I had those, it was, well, I'll attach a couple of things on and make some jellyfish.
Things travel a lot. So on our old mock, we had like a little dolphin on the top and then like a whole load of little ducks. And we didn't get that back onto the mock for this time round. And it's like, I don't know where they've gone. And then just up here, there's like a tray of parts. And I put it down to do some sorting. And like the amount of stuff in there, like loads of Technic pieces that you could have used, they'd come off the old mock and you just sort of dumped them in there. Yeah. So it really does pay to tidy as you go, because then you can use those pieces again. So yeah, they'll make a reappearance now. So now that I found them.
And do the girls have much sort of input on any of that stuff? You know, like maybe the decoration side of it. They're like, oh, you could put this in there. And like, just as a little.
They just want to play. Like the elves mock, they're so eager to get their hands on. With this one, they were quite good cheerleaders. So they'd come in each day, because obviously it was quite sparse where Ian had stole quite a lot of the coral for underneath. They'd be like, oh, I think it's got too much space, mummy. And then the next day they were like, oh, it's getting better. So that like they were quite encouraging towards the end. Like, oh, that looks amazing now, mummy. So yeah, it was quite helpful having them. But I think, I don't know, they do build alongside us sometimes.
They do.
They build some random things. But it's just nice all being in here at once, but at the same time, a bit cramped. And because we were in here a lot trying to get this done, they wanted to be in to help or to do things, but you have to not be in the stress mood for that to work. We were like, you just need to leave. Like we can't deal with it.
So do you think maybe in the future we could have a full-on family brick bod bit and mock for a show?
I mean, so maybe today my niece was getting some presents for her birthday. And she's shaking it, and I was like, "Oh, that doesn't sound like Lego." She's like, "Well, I didn't ask for any Lego." And my daughter goes, "Oh, I'm glad. I'm sick of Lego." And I'm like, "Oh no, you can't come home with me." So yeah, there's a fine line, and she does enjoy really being creative. Yeah, she made a whole load of like volcanoes. I should have included her mocks as well. For a school project, she was studying volcanoes, so she sat in here and made volcanoes. And then she took them to school and showed everyone, and they took pictures and put them on the wall, and she's like super proud. So
that's really cool.
And like we've got a couple of her little mocks that we take to the shows as well.
So she did this really nice little set where she used the action pose pieces.
Oh yeah.
So she used a bunch of those to create like a twisting trail, and then put a butterfly on the top of it. And kind of had multiple ones of those coming off a small kind of base plate kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it looked really cool because you could see all of the movement. It was a really good way of demonstrating that. And so we've taken that to a number of shows and had it out.
And when she was at one of the shows with it, people would actually talk to her, and she was like super proud of that.
Yeah.
So, that's so cool.
It's nice to see.
Yeah.
So I think maybe as they get older, they'll do more. Hayley is less. So
she wants to get involved, but she doesn't really know what she's doing at this point.
Yeah.
That's fine. She's 6, so
Yeah.
No, well,
she could build a Lego set. That's the important part, right? She's having fun.
Yeah.
She's got some good storytelling though, so maybe we need to listen to what she's playing and build around it.
Oh, there you go. She could help with the ideas and stuff. And
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's really cool. Everyone's got their own little role. You see, it's all cool.
Yeah.
And then I guess one of the final things, because I mean, you mentioned that you started really more as set builders. So with the variety of sets that you've built over the years, has anything, or do you think that's helped inform techniques maybe that you've been able to use and discover new parts that way as well?
Probably for you. I forget very quickly.
Yeah, you definitely see things that are done in sets that you work out either how you can use them or you could modify them to use them in these. So I think you gain an awful lot of techniques. And I think in some cases, we've spoken to people who, they say that they've not built sets for years kind of thing. And in some ways that's a bit of a shame because they're missing out on some of those newer techniques, particularly when new pieces come out.
Yeah.
Seeing how those new pieces can be used kind of thing. If you're not doing the sets, it's much harder to find out about them. So,
Yeah, I just forget.
Yeah.
But I like seeing the techniques. I'm like, oh, this is a cool way of doing that. And then, boop, I don't remember. So.
It maybe sink in and you just don't realise it's there.
Yeah, maybe. I think you do all the fun parts. I like to sort of tell the stories, and I like to build sort of scenes.
Yeah.
But I think all the technique stuff, not literal technique, but like technique stuff is you.
Well, that's quite good. And so there is kind of like a more defined sort of role. So Carrie does like the finishing details, and Ian does like the more technical side of it. Then, so
my structural stuff is not as structural as it should be. So I can definitely stack some bricks, but I won't necessarily connect them all in the correct way.
Yeah,
you don't play properly. Yeah. Oh, that's really cool though. But it's good though. It means it's a good sign of good teamwork though. So that's probably like evolved over the years as well. So it is a bit more of a where that ends. One person can pick up where the other person's left off with that as well. So that's really cool.
I think next year's MOC is going to be a lot more collaborative in that style. So we'll need to work out a lot more of the stories beforehand, kind of thing.
Yeah. We need to sit down and draw some pictures.
We do.
Because I have no idea what Ian's thinking.
I don't know what I'm thinking either.
Good, right. I'm glad we're on the same page on that. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
See, it's good that you've got an idea already for the next ones to take round to.
Yeah.
Roughly.
With one finished beforehand, as opposed to jumping ahead without one finished.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'll sort it out. Cool. And if anyone else in the chat has got any more questions, and I'm very conscious that it is the time it is. Stop it. Get down. So cat's going for the wire again. But yeah, so thanks for spending your evening chatting. I know Wednesday is traditionally the time for something else, Brick Bod related. No, that sounds bad. For podcasting. So thank you very much for sparing your evening.
Well, do we want to very quickly talk about our micro builds?
You want to show your micro build?
So this is.
Oh yeah.
We didn't send you a picture because we forgot, but.
Oh yeah, hang on.
Ian likes micro builds and he's quite excited about them. And so this is our coral reef, the smaller version.
Oh yes.
I think. Let me show it off to its max. This is. You want to build a micro city, right? Or a something micro scale.
Yeah, I like or even kind of nanoscale kind of stuff.
Yeah. So this was a good way of like showing off our MOC when we'd finished. And like, these are the shows we've been to with this MOC. But it gave you the opportunity to make it.
Yeah.
Do something small scale. So yeah, big scale and little scale.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
I've not quite worked out how we create one of the elves in that scale yet.
No.
So that is another challenge to do. But yeah, it's just fun. It's a very different MOC style. doing something like that. So I had started digitally designing a nanoscale version of our city.
Oh, okay.
As you do.
And to get some of the techniques, and it's like, 2/3 of the structure is underground, essentially, just so you've got the right pieces sticking up in the right place.
Okay.
So it's a really fun thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, actually really cool, actually, the micro cities.
This is the thing, you shouldn't limit yourself to one style.
No.
Like, I'd love at some point to do a GVC as well, like a module for a GVC. Because I
Oh.
love looking at those. But you've just got to concentrate on one thing at a time. Like, this is the mock we're working on, do that.
Yeah.
And then you can build the micro scale ones in your spare time while you're watching the telly.
Yes.
Because it is digitally designing at that point, isn't it?
Yeah. So for the big ones, we don't really do any digital design.
Right. Yeah.
It's just not. When you're talking about the size of them and the number of pieces, doing it digitally doesn't really work.
Yeah.
As you may have found at times.
Yeah.
But when you're doing these nanoscale ones, that's a really great time to do it. It does lead to the frustration of you find the perfect way of doing something, then you find out the piece isn't available in that color.
Yeah. Or it's ridiculously expensive and you can only buy it in Canada or something.
It's something different to do.
Yeah, it's a good way of displaying the bricks as well, then, because it's like, because you've just done it for the bricks that show went to as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so we can remember where we showed it, John.
So with that in mind, when you do the elves one, how are you going to do that when you're taking 2 builds to the same show? Do you get 2 bricks? I can't remember.
There's 2 of us, so we normally get 2 bricks.
You do, right? Okay.
So we've got a whole load of extra bricks that we don't need.
Yeah.
And we just put those in filler bricks. But we'll actually need both of those bricks. Yeah.
What can I say? Cool. Right. Okay. I haven't even touched on your winter village or anything.
Yeah, that's definitely been a work in progress across the years, but it always looks wintry, so it's not that exciting. You didn't get to show off the stairs. Ian's very proud of his stairs, but we can show off his stairs.
Is that in the winter village?
Yeah, in the city one. Because we have 2 winter villages. We have one that's always in our city, and then the one that we have downstairs over the winter period. So anytime up until February, we decide. Sometimes April.
Festive period's getting longer every year.
Yeah. So it's the one in the city you'll put more work into. You made the whole mountain.
Yes.
Whereas the one downstairs, it's just sets and then telling the stories. I do the storytelling. So
hang on.
And this year it should be exciting because I've smashed holes and stuff.
Yeah, so this was the initial city one. As you can see, it's very flat. And then Ian's like, no, we need a mountain. So he built a mountain.
Okay.
And he managed to nestle the buildings into the mountain.
Yes.
Which is quite nice.
So some of the buildings actually slide in so that the back half of them is essentially inside the mountain to give you that extra space.
Space saving,
there you go.
Look at it now.
And so then, so it's that kind of those stairs leading up to the top section that was a lot of fun to do. So that was, if you know Down Under Bricks?
Oh, yes.
He did something kind of similar to this for a path leading up a cliff, but it was quite basic. It was just like a straight set of stairs essentially going up. But so I took that and then did this to add it in so that it curves round and it has different lengths and stuff. There's lots of fun doing that.
I just think that's so beautiful.
It's really nice.
You started work on a second set of staircase up to the Elsa one. I don't like that one at all.
No. That's I was just trying a different technique. I'm not convinced on it.
No.
I might go back to the other way of doing it.
But this is the thing, you gotta try things.
I quite like as well that you've got a Dalek in there down there. Look, that's quite I'm really impressed.
I think that might be a Christmas tree without the top on.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the problem of having kids as well, is that they destroy the winter village when we bring it downstairs.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always stay as they should be. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But this is the reason why we have so many white bricks and slopes. We had to have 2 drawers for those.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a continually evolving area of the city as well, presumably.
Yeah. I think that's the one we put the most work into, like landscape wise.
Yeah.
Like the fairground has got the most sort of interactiveness, but needs a lot more landscaping. So yeah, definite work in progress. Yeah, and we're extending it along so that we can fit a few more sets in. So
yeah,
the thing can go under.
And then eventually the Disney castle will be raised up as well, is the plan and stuff. So
many plans.
Yeah.
So little time.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get there. You'll get there, I'm sure.
I'm just hoping that this year I actually get a winter village, because last year I was not in the mood for a winter village, so it was very sparse. So I'm going to start now.
Oh, okay.
This is definitely much more exciting.
Yeah, because it goes through the chimney.
Yeah.
I was going to say, the pictures you sent over, it was I think the winter village went around the chimney the outside, and I thought, I'm sure you made a hole in it, so it doesn't anymore.
Yeah. How long have we had a winter village? What was the earliest one? 2014, I think. Yeah, we've had a winter village for quite some years.
Yeah.
That was the picture I saw. Oh, on the wrong way. Yeah, there's a nice panoramic shot of the whole thing going across. Oh, see more scenes.
Yeah, so I put the scenes in, and then my kids moved them all around.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were not meant to be in line. At one point, they put them all on the train tracks like they were going to get killed.
Yes.
Oh,
there is a longer one somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there is. Where is it actually? Yeah, it's kind of like a panoramic shot. Oh, yeah, that one, yeah.
Yeah.
So now the railway now goes.
We're going to now go behind that. Yeah, right up. It's going to be fun. Oh, there's a small child's hand in that one.
Yeah. So it started off just being on the one side of the chimney, and then it grew to being across both, and then I added the boxes in to make the little tunnels in the corners so we could fit more stuff. So it is constantly growing.
So many sets.
So the idea is now, because it can go through the chimney breast, it means that it's a much simpler loop. So you end up with less space being needed for the train track.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that should give us more space to fit in the sets.
Yeah, but the thing I don't like is having to bring the sets down from the loft. So I think
I do that for it.
No, you don't. You don't. You do some of it, and you sometimes take them back up. But it's fun. It'll be fun. I think we just need to get a bit more creative with it, so that it's its own thing, and we have to keep bringing things up and down.
Maybe.
Yeah, get doubles of everything. It's easy then.
Yeah, I just don't think that's a financially good decision.
You could do some more. You could do some more mocking.
Well, that's the thing. I think I'm feeling more confident in my mock skills, having done all the lug builds.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can always encourage people to do more. Oh yeah, actually, there was one more. Sorry, where are you? Because there's the two that. That's right. They were there. I had this on quickly. So it was this one you did, wasn't there? The actual ice cream van.
So this I included because it's not really mocking.
No,
it was reverse engineering someone else's mock, and I kind of feel that's quite a good way to get into mocking.
So this was that there was a Lego Ideas competition to create a retro vehicle.
Is that the one that with the cars? The car one.
So the
surfboard
Cadillac gift with purchase set won it, and this came second, and I think it should have won because it's a much more interesting, diverse set. And so I reverse engineered it, and I think there were a couple of parts where I've had to change it because the parts they used were stupidly expensive.
Palm tree.
Yes. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember. They used like think it's like dumbbells from one of the CMFs or something to do lights.
They're so expensive.
Yeah. so I had to switch those out. And it as builds go, it's a bit fragile.
It is quite fragile, but it's beautiful.
But it's really nice. It's currently in pieces because it constantly gets played with and broken. But yeah, so I mean, that's a really fun way to kind of get started with mocking and to kind of see if you can work out what techniques have been used in order to make something work.
Yeah.
So that was lots of fun to do.
And I guess then that's the same for the gingerbread houses that you, because you recolored. Because how many colors did you do? Because it wasn't just.
I've done this one so far, but I've got loads of wish lists on Bricklink to do more because I'd like to have a rainbow street with them all, but I haven't got around to buying the parts. But it's a good way of customizing things so that your city looks different without having to really know how to build something. So yeah, I like some recoloring.
That's the same sort of scale as the Houses of the World type.
Yeah, that's true. I just thought this would be. I see these as like the elves' houses. Like they all have like their own little bedsit kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
It is small scale, but I think if you have your elf outside each one, or elf village.
Yeah, I like it. I think you did a video on it, didn't you, as well? Actually, if I remember, I'm sure I remember watching one. So
back in the day.
Cool. Back in the day. Not that long ago. Someone on the radio. They played a song earlier on today on the radio, and it was, and someone was like, "Oh, this song's ancient." It's like, "What do you mean it's ancient? It's only like 20 years old." Oh,
yeah, these things they're getting old. We're getting old. Older,
but not wiser.
One day.
Nah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Oh, dear. But yeah, anyway, right. So thanks again, though, for coming on and chatting about, as I said, all your mock journey and progress. And it's been really cool just seeing where you started, where you've got to now, and your ideas, and as well, like working as a couple, how you manage it. Yeah, well, how you manage, how you cope with that, how you manage it all as well. So
it's ultimately the reason we're going to get divorced, right? Be fine. We'll see each other at shows. Oh, nice to see you.
See each other at shows. I just remembered I have got a poll running. I better stop that as well because I remembered it this time. I'm usually very good at forgetting to do those. How do I stop it? Where's the button? It's not even showing me. Oh, great. This is joys of technology.
Do you want to know what Ian's favourite piece is? That was one of the questions, wasn't it? What's your favourite piece, Ian?
Yes, whilst I'm doing it,
So I think
headlight brick.
It's the headlight brick. For a couple of different. One, it's really nice to be able to have that offset kind of inset. So if you're doing a bit of work and you want to make something, you can put like snot bricks on and have tile to have something stick out. But if you use the headlight bricks, it only sticks out half as far, so it's really nice texture wise. It also means that there are some really complicated ways you can get really smooth slopes using cheese wedges.
Oh yes.
So, normally if you put a cheese wedge and then a plate and another cheese wedge, it's got that little jaggedy jump. Whereas by using the headlight bricks, you can get the distances right so that it's properly smooth all the way up. And then the other one that I really like them for is, so on our mock where we've got the sea wall, that's tacked using headlight bricks.
Okay.
You use a headlight brick, you put a plate across so that it sticks out a bit, and then you put a plate down from that, sandwiching the base plate against the wall.
Okay. Is it the right sort of thickness then?
Yeah, it's the right thickness just to hold it there. So they're really useful.
My favourite piece is a splat gear because it's called a splat gear.
Nice.
I think it's
fair enough.
Also, they're really useful.
They are quite cool
because you can use them to make like those little bushes that they've got in the
they look quite cool. They're also really nice in that you can use them to change the direction. So
that's just because it's called a splat gear.
So traditionally, if you wanted it a gear that was horizontal and one that was vertical, use the bevel gears.
That doesn't sound cool as a splat gear.
But you can do the same thing with the splat gears, and it's a lot easier and it looks simpler. So if you're trying to explain it to a kid or something, it works a lot better as well.
Also, I think they come in purple.
And they do come in purple.
We like them.
Oh.
See?
Yeah. And Brick Bods arrived just as we're wrapped up. So.
Rewind.
Yeah.
Pretend we're still live.
Replay. So the poll is a simple one because simple person. The question I asked was, have you been to many Lego shows? So yes, show regular, 33%. No, not dipped my feet in yet, 19%. Some, but don't go to them all, 44%. And went to my first one this year was 4%. So more people have been to a couple rather than every show possible.
The more you go to, the more chance you have of seeing the same thing twice.
Yeah.
But then you get to know the people better as well. So it's nice to do that too.
Yeah. And, going to all of them is impossible.
Yes.
You know, there's so many shows on that overlap. You know, so was there a London Brick Fest on at the same time as Sheffield? So quite often the northern ones and the southern ones will happen at the same time, kind of thing.
And that's okay. That's okay.
And that's fine. But you know, so you're not going to travel the country to do them. I know that the first Southampton Brick Fest we missed because it was on the same day as Reading.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so,
that's right.
You know, and I think if you look at it, literally every weekend there will be a show on somewhere in the UK. I don't know what it's like in the rest of the world, but the UK does have an awful lot of them going on all the time.
Yeah. There's a real lot actually. It seems to be getting more every year as well, doesn't it? So it's like new venue. Oh, okay, another one to go to. Can't go to them all. Yeah. Cool. Okay, brilliant. Well, yeah. Thanks again, guys, as well for giving up your evening, and thanks for watching, everybody out there as well. I won't go through the list because I'm just not going to. Yeah, you know who you are. So yeah, thanks for watching. MOC Heads will be back in 2 weeks. Next week it will just be me on my other channel, the actual Minifig Who channel, where I will be doing what I was supposed to have done the other week, but I didn't because I didn't get back from a course till then.
Excuses.
Excuses. It's very, very late. But yeah,
the reason. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Anyway, so yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in 2 weeks for this one, and next week for me. So bye.
Bye.